Hey, this week we have something a little different for you guys. We have a short segment from the Powerlifting for the People seminar from Gaglione Strength. This whole short segment is going to be on goal setting and setting proper goals and some quick tips and tricks for you to set better goals for yourself. If you like this podcast, be sure to leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes, and be sure to share it with a friend. It really helps us grow the podcast and gets other people to hear this valuable information.
For a long time, I was over 300 pounds for like many years and like a long time in a row. So let's say like I was overweight for 5 years. I'm going to probably expect that I'm going to need to probably diet hard and focus on my nutrition for 5 years. And that's kind of, so if someone's been sedentary for 20 years, you know, there's a lot of bad habits you got to kind of uncover. So the longer you kind of, momentum can be positive or negative. And if you have a lot of negative momentum and a lot of negative habits, it might take you just as long to kind of get rid of those things. So just be ready that we might need to extend the time frame a little bit for that to happen, but you have some more kind of concrete goals for that, and we can kind of work on some action steps. So, and then goals for you? Great. So that's kind of, we're going to talk about the process. So that's going to be like kind of the next step. We're going to talk about that. So what do you need to be more consistent with specifically? Just working out in general? Okay, so that process of working out consistently, what is that going to help you achieve? What do you want to achieve through that? Okay, so you want to get leaner? Is there a certain like weight you want to get to, or a certain body fat, or a certain like size of jeans that you want to be in, or? Okay. Cool. Have you like done some measurements, and do you like kind of have an idea where you're at now? Or okay, so that'd be the first step, is kind of figuring out where you're at, and then we can kind of go from there. So that's important, and we'll give you some tools for that. So that's great. So we want to lose some fat, and we can kind of get more calculated. So I think that's a good example of a lot of times we have an idea of what we want, but we're not really sure like where we're at. So you need to know, number one, where you're at, and then where you want to go, and that's going to help kind of fine tune things even that much more. All right, so this is through Open Powerlifting in the United States. Total amount of lifters in 2013 was 6,716 in 2013. 2017, in the United States alone, 34,269. Women, 2013, just women, 1,763. Okay, about a sixth. Almost, a sixth or a seventh of the guys. Sixth or a fifth, 2017. So it went from 1,700 about to 11,342 in 2017. So what does that mean for us that compete? It's a lot harder to be competitive. There's a lot more. It's a bigger pool. Okay? We're all small fish now. Okay, so, and it's harder to get nationally ranked. It's hard to qualify for these national level meets. So there's more natural pressure on the beginning lifter to be great, quicker. And it kind of skews it. So a lot of, when I started was 12 years ago, there was it wasn't a female spectator in the audience. So especially for the girls, it's becoming really crazy competitive, because it's just it's a new thing for them. So just to kind of harp on your point, this is really great advice. If you guys, how many people like look at Instagram and they compare themselves to other lifters or other people? Has anyone ever done that? All right, if your hand was down, you could put it up because you're lying. So we've all done it, right? So it's really important. Comparison kills your clarity. Comparison kills your clarity. It's really important that we stay in our own lane. We all have our own genetics. We all have our own. So I can't pull out my shirt enough. I have a tattoo on my arm because this is an important concept for me. It's the worst hand in poker that I have tattooed on my arm, and it just says all in. Because no matter what hand I'm dealt, I have to play my cards the best I can, and I can't worry about that. Whatever hand I'm dealt, I need to play it the best I can. I can't just fold and give up. I can't change my genetics. I can't change my limb length. I can change my effort. I can change my attitude. Those are the things you should focus on. Focus on the things you can control, not the things that you can't. You cannot control what your competition does, but you can control how you perform and how you act and how you train. So I think that is probably the biggest thing for staying healthy and being in the long game. I will also say if you're healthier, you'll be in the game longer and you will outlast your competition if your goal is to be a competitive lifter. So it's really important that you stay in your lane and you focus on your journey. Regardless if you're a recreational lifter or a really highly competitive lifter, the longer you are in the game, the more chance success you're going to have. Okay? So I think that's a good kind of just mindset thing for you. Is that kind of helpful just from a psychological standpoint? And we'll go into the specifics on well, what do I actually do, right? So, and we'll get into the specifics on actually how to stay healthy. You want a reason for the goal, and we're gonna spend a little bit more time on these two, and then you need a time frame for it. So specific, measurable, attainable. You need a reason for it, and you need a time frame. Okay. So attainable. You need to believe you could actually do it. I'm going to say this again. You need to believe that you actually can do it. If you're just saying it to say it, it doesn't matter. I could say I want to squat 1,200 pounds. I don't really believe that right now. That sounds cool. It's definitely something that, it's an aggressive goal, right? But that doesn't really make sense. I don't have a concept of that. Okay? Here's an example. So I had a console that I did one time. I said, what's your goal? I want to squat 700 pounds. Great. Where are you at right now? 375. I swear to God. I said, great, awesome. I'm like, what's funny? I didn't actually say it. I didn't phrase it this way. So I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek, but the point will be the same. So I've actually done that progression. My first meet ever at 198 pounds, I squatted 375 pounds. It was my opener. I had to retake it. I missed the squat command, and then I missed 415 on my third. So my first meet, I squatted 375 at 198 pounds. About a year and a half ago, when Ray Williams was here, I hit an all-time PR in knee sleeves and a belt of 705 pounds. It took me 10 to 12 years, I guess 11 years, over 10 years to get there. And I added over 100 pounds of body weight. So, was that goal attainable? Yes, but it took a decade. So when I was squatting 375, do you think 700 was on my radar? What do you think was on my radar probably? 400 first, right? So that was kind of so that was something that was challenging, so that your goal should challenge you, because what doesn't challenge you will not change you. What does not challenge you will not change you. It should be challenging, but you need to believe you can get there. It's just like with lifting. You need to stress yourself just enough to adapt. If you work out too easy, you're not going to adapt. You must stress your system. You also need to stress your psychology as well. It should be a little scary to write that number down. It should be a little scary to write that number down. If it doesn't scare you a little bit, it's probably not a big enough goal. But you still need to believe it's possible. You have to believe in yourself. You need to believe it before you can achieve it. Okay? So it's important that, there's an old adage, pressure can make diamonds or dust. If you have too much pressure, you're going to crumble. Not enough pressure, nothing is going to change. But just enough pressure, you have something beautiful. So you need to figure out what you personally can handle. Everyone is different. Okay? So some people have more aggressive goals than others. So part of that is based on psychology. Some people need a big goal to challenge them. If the goal is too easy, that might not challenge them enough. That being said, I do think if you have a big goal, it's okay to set the bar low if you don't have a lot of confidence. If you don't have, so this is where if the coaches, this is really important for the coaches listening. If you have an athlete that has low confidence, set the bar very low for them. Make them achieve that first hurdle. Get them to have success, because success breeds success. Once they jump over that little hurdle, you can raise the bar a little bit. Raise the bar a little bit. Raise the bar a little bit. And then over time, now their confidence builds, you could set more aggressive goals because now they're ready for it. Now they could handle that pressure. But in the beginning, they couldn't. Does all make sense? Okay. This is really important because a lot of this, so that's going over attainable. And obviously with measure, it's some sort of quantifiable number. So with measurement, pounds in the bar, We talked about measuring velocity in terms of meters per second. We talked about measuring body fat in terms of actual how much muscle mass and lean tissue you have, how much fat, so that we have an in-body scale that we could do that. You could do calipers. Sherry talked about measuring her waist. These are quantifiable numbers. Getting stronger, that's not a measurement. 500-pound squat, that's a measurement. You could actually see that, okay, on the bar. Reason, this is the most important. So if you have a big enough why, you will figure out the how. If you have a big enough why, you'll figure out the how. I first heard this from Martin Rooney, great coach and speaker. How many, this is, you don't need to answer this question, but think about how many people are just posting videos on internet just for attention. How far is that going to get those people, you think? When it starts to get tough, and if all they want is attention, they're probably going to quit when it gets hard. Just using that as an example. Any parents in here? I bet you really care about your kids a lot, right? Yeah? Probably do anything for them? Yeah, okay. Depends on the day. So a really common thing for like parents, you want to be strong and healthy, right? Yeah, all the parents in here, you want to be strong and healthy. And you probably want to be strong and healthy for your kids. Probably want to be a role model for them. So part of staying healthy is you're doing it for a bigger cause than just yourself. You're doing it for your family. You're doing it for your kids. You want to show them the right way. You want to set the example for them. Okay, one of the reasons that I still compete is because my number one priority is doing what I'm doing now, is coaching. I don't want to say I don't care about my numbers, because that'd be a lie, but I care more about the success of the team and everyone inside these four walls here. How can I expect to be a good coach if I'm not leading by example, if I'm not walking the walk, if I'm not practicing what I preach? That's why I still compete. I squatted 900 pounds in competition before. I don't really feel like I have much more to prove than that. Some people may argue, but in my mind, I've kind of been there and done that. I've done the stuff for myself. I let my weight go. I got unhealthy. I hit that big squat. I've had 1,000 pounds on my back before. Now, my mission is evolving. It's not about significance anymore, it's about contribution. I did it for myself, and I started it for myself, and then as the team and the gym and the business evolved, it's more about contributing to others. Okay? That's my reason. That's why I constantly challenge myself, because I want to make sure that I'm always doing the right things and I'm setting an example, because if I can't do it, how can I expect everyone else to? That's why I still compete. I'm not trying to be a world record holder. Okay? I'm not trying to impress anyone with my numbers. I don't, it's whatever. I'm trying to be the best version of myself, and I'm hoping that trickles down, and I show the people that I'm working with that they can achieve great things, even when you're a businessman and you're busy, even when you don't have a lot of time, even when you're stressed out, even when you've got crazy things going on in your personal life. You could still achieve great things with the right guidance, with the right map, with the right GPS, with the right destination. Okay? So this is the most important. If you have a shallow reason, how consistent do you think you're going to be? Probably not very. If you have a powerful why, if you have a powerful reason, now that might be tougher, especially for the younger people. But if you can really get a handle of why you want to do this, then you're going to be a lot more successful. And you're going to push through those hard times. We don't have air conditioning in our gym. It's hot. It stinks. It's tough. But I have a very powerful reason, so I'm gonna we call it embracing the suck, embracing the grind, right? You push through it, okay? And then the time frame we talked about, there's really no unrealistic goal, but there are unrealistic time frames. But you want to just find that sweet spot. You want to challenge yourself. So there's another old adage, again, when appropriate, based on the confidence level. If you shoot for the stars, if you end up on the moon, it's okay. So as long as you have that kind of expectation, it's okay. So my goal, $2,000 total at 220, and it's going to be at Reebok Record Breakers. I want to say, I think it's November 10th. I should know, but okay. That's my goal. And hopefully, when we rewatch this recording, this will happen, right? That's a little scary for me. Because I've been chasing that number for a long time, and I have not hit it in competition. My best lifts, and this is also equipped for what it's worth. My best equipped numbers is 900 in a meet. I've done 575 in a meet, and I've done 660 in a meet. And I've done 700 deadlift in the gym. But I've never been able to put it together. But the strength was always there. So my last competition, I totaled 1900 at 242 while in a deficit, going into the meet in a deficit. So, kind of like Don, it's a little bit lofty. For me to put 100 pounds on my total and drop a weight class, that's a little bit, it may seem a little silly. But I don't care because I need to put that pressure on myself. Why am I doing this in California? I've never done a meet going on a plane before. I've never really done a high-level meet. I'm going to be lifting with guys that are the best in the country. It's going to be a lot of pressure. I'm doing that because I coach people that do that, and I need to go through that experience myself. So I'm stacking a lot of things against me, but it's a challenge that I'm up for, and I'm ready to take it to the next level. We're going to set the goal, and then we're going to kind of forget about the goal for a little bit. So we're going to be a little bit more process-oriented, but I think it's important to have the target first. So we're going to get into that in a second. So just hold that thought, and we'll kind of come back to it. And we're going to talk about some mental strategies as well for this. So this is my personal goal. Is it specific? Just say yes or no. Is it specific? Yep. Can I measure it? Yes. Is it attainable? Yeah, but stars need to align, right? Do I have a powerful reason for it? Yes. Do I have a time frame? Do I have a deadline? Yes. Cool. That's why I think competition is important. Even if you have recreational lifters you're working with, I think it's important for them to train for something, a 5K, a charity event, a push-up contest. There's so many ways to make these goals fun, because at some point, especially if your goal is just aesthetics in the beginning, at some point you're going to be comfortable with how you look, and then it's kind of like, what are you training for, right? So it's really important to set performance goals, I think, to kind of help, even if aesthetics is the goal. This is the thing that I think is really important. This is the thing I think a lot of coaches, personalities, these are the things that we're not really talking about. The number is the number. The number is honestly arbitrary, and the number is going to be different for everybody. But it's about what it takes for the journey to get there and what that journey is going to mean to you. And what's going to be more powerful if you're focused on just a number. So let's say if you're only focused on a number, if you deadlift 290, you're probably going to be pissed. But if you give it your all and you do the best you can, you hit some personal records, whatever, and your kids see that and they see that you're working hard, and then they learn from you, you're leading by example, and then they take that with them, how much better are you going to feel about that? That's going to feel a lot better than pulling 300. You're going to feel good for about 2 seconds, and you're going to want 400, right? That's because it's never the number is never enough. But being a role model for your kids, teaching your kids about success, having them be happy, having you feel fulfilled, that's going to last a lifetime. And that's your purpose. So now kind of when I'm working with Carrie and I see that she's struggling, so I know basically, so 1, 2, and 3 is kind of like the superficial layer. 5, 6, 7 is like really where it's at. So like your 5, 6, 7 was like you want to be a role model, you want your kids happy, so you feel fulfilled about your kids being like happy and successful. Okay, so that's like your 5, 6, 7. For me, the 2,000 pound total is really not that important. But I want to show people that you could be strong and healthy. You could drop 100 pounds of body weight, and you could still kick some butt and lift some heavy-ass weight. And I could fly in a plane and do it. And I could eat some, great, Mexican food in Cali after I weigh in. And I'm gonna have a great time, right? And I'm going to do it on a big stage. That's what it's about. It's not about the number. If I total 1,900, if I total 1,950, if I hit, whatever, it's a win. It's a win. Because I'm accomplishing what I'm set out to do. So, this is going to be really important, knowing your why. So, again, to recap, know where you're at, know where you're going. So this is know why you want to go there. So we're going to do this with your partner. If you need some help, so we're going to take like 5-10 minutes to do this, and then we're going to redo our goals. And I want you to, if you feel comfortable sharing, we're going to share your 5, 6, 7, share your why. Then once we're done, we're going to focus on the process, because the goal is great, but now we need a roadmap, right? We need the map. So then we're going to start to create our map and how we're going to get there. So we have these goals, right? So once you kind of have the goal like written down, you can kind of just put it to the side for now. So the next part is called a bridge habit. So I have an example here of me, with a deadlift goal in here. So I'll just kind of go through it. So these are daily and weekly actions. All right, so for me, so the first thing that we do is attached to a bridge habit is we want to try and have, Sarah, you said that you struggled with consistency, right? So a good habit to attach to your actions would be consistency. If you guys, everyone know somebody that maybe does a lot of program hopping? Anyone? Yeah? Yes? They probably need more focus. Has anyone worked with somebody or trained with someone that's kind of timid and shy? Yeah? So they're going to need to bring more intensity. They might need to bring more fire and intensity to their training and their daily actions. So you're going to just pick a word, and this is whatever. I just think it helps kind of guide the process, but you're going to pick a word. So for me, I picked focus because I was really dialing in on this one particular goal. The quality could be whatever you want. Okay, you could bring more drive, intensity, confidence, motivation, consistency. Consistency and focus are probably big ones. Intensity and drive and confidence is good for people that are kind of shy. So those are just some examples. So this was another example of a goal. I wanted to deadlift 700 pounds. So these were my 5 daily actions. I talked about working on breathing and bracing. I talked about working on glute activation. I talked about working on T-spine mobility. I talked about working on nutrition. I talked about working on sleep. So those were 5 things. And then from there, I broke it down even further, and I wrote really specific things that I was going to do every single day. So for the bracing, I said I'm going to do leg lowers as part of my warm-up. I'm going to do band hip hinges to work on my glute activation and my hinge pattern. I'm going to do T-spine mobility with a lacrosse ball. And I said I just wrote on some nutrition habits. I said post-workout shake, aminos, and keep my electrolytes up. And I said go to bed before 11 p.m. each night. Okay. So at the time I was getting up earlier, so I said take naps also when I'm up at 5 for the gym. So I'm not doing that anymore. So those are some specific things. So I just want to go through that really quickly. So these are some things. So while I'm going through this, I want you guys to think about what quality you're going to do. So you're going to write down your goal and write down what quality you need to reach your goal. So it could be consistency, intensity, could be drive, focus, okay? So my goal, 2K at 220, and I need focus. The reason I need focus for that goal is because I have a lot of things going on in my personal life. I have a lot of things going on in the business. So when it comes down to training, I need to have blinders on, and I need to bring a lot of focus to my training. Does that make sense why I picked that quality? Yes? Great. So for daily, you're going to pick 3 to 5 things. I'll start with this. So in general, you're always going to have at least 3. You might have more. Training is 1. Training and nutrition is always part of the equation. Sleep/stress, this could be. So sleep, stress management. So these things could differ depending on the person. If mobility is a problem, maybe mobility is one of the things. So these are the 4 things I'm going to focus on day to day. So I'm going to go through what I do for my training now. I have a very unique schedule. I don't necessarily have a lot of time day to day, but I have these weird breaks in the middle of my day. That's kind of the life of it as a trainer. For someone that works a 9-to-5 job, my schedule is not going to fit your schedule, so you cannot copy. Does that make sense? So I'm going to show you what I've been doing. I'm not saying that you should do this. So for me, I found one of my weaknesses was not doing assistance work. One of my goals is also I need to drop some weight in order to reach this weight class. So instead of training 4 times a week, I train with the same amount of volume. I break those workouts up to 5 to 7 mini workouts a week. So I'm going to show it depending on what I do. So the way it works, instead of going like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, so I do my main training Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. These are my barbell workouts. These are my strength workouts. And then in between, Monday, Wednesday, what did I miss? Yes. So this is optional, and this is usually just cardio. Okay, so how does this work? So instead of training 4 times a week for like 2 hours, I might train for 45 minutes to an hour multiple times a week. So on this day, I squat, and I do 1 to 3 barbell movements. On Tuesday, I bench. I do 1 to 3 barbell movements. Thursday, I deadlift. I do 1 to 3 barbell movements. Friday is my secondary bench day. So I usually do incline or overhead press on that particular day. Monday, I do lower accessories. Wednesday, I do upper accessories. And then Saturday, I usually do some, and then also Wednesday night, I do yoga. Saturday, I do some light cardio and yoga. That's my plan. That's my map. Okay? That fits my schedule. That's what I tend to do. I do think for a lot of people that if health is a goal, I think doing some movement day to day is important. You should not have a barbell in your hands every single day. I have a barbell in my hands 4 times a week. That's it. 3 to 4 days a week is probably good for longevity. In an off-season type situation, 4 to 5 might be okay. This is what I do. I also try to get sneak in some 10-minute walks in when I can. I'm not really heavily cardio focused, but I just do some for just longevity. And sometimes 10-minute walks turn into 20, sometimes turn into 40. But I just try to get in a walk. So if I squat on Sunday, I might also try and walk in the afternoon. If I bench on Tuesday, I might try and walk in the afternoon. If I deadlift on Thursday, you guys get the idea? But I'm trying to do some sort of work, just some sort of movement every single day. For a lot of people, that might be too much. The frequency might be too much, but this is what I used to do. But I found that I could not do, especially as I started squatting 700, 800, 900 pounds in my training, I was kind of shot and I was not really doing a good job of my accessory work. So I just did so now I started to do my accessories the next day. Okay? So, we're going to go through this for nutrition. Very simple. I have a couple of rules. These are just for me personally because they help my goals. They may not be your rules. Carbs, pre and post. That's it. All else, meat and veggies, protein and produce. That's it. Okay? I try and get about 1 gram per pound of body weight. 0.8 is a minimum for just maintaining muscle mass. If you're trying to lose weight and drop body fat, I think bumping the protein up can help with higher thermic effect of food and just your overall just being more satiated, being more full. I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a doctor. This is what has worked for me. For carbs, I only have rice and the occasional Lenny's and Larry's cookie when I'm feeling a little crazy. Okay? Why do I control for carbs? Because I tend to overeat on carbs. I do not tend to overeat on protein. Most people do not tend to overeat on chicken breasts that I know. But most people tend to overeat on pasta, bread, all this other stuff. I don't, besides the Lenny's and Larry's cookie occasionally, and I usually have that as a treat before I get in my squat suit or my bench shirt and stuff like that. In general, it's just rice, but I will have the occasional, if I'm training, if I care more about my performance, my calories and my carbohydrate goes up. If I don't care as much about my performance, it's a low priority workout, then I don't need as much fuel for that. So on these particular days, are going to be lower carbohydrate. This is usually on Wednesday and Saturday. I have very, very low carbs. On my squat and deadlift days are my most challenging. So that's where my calories and my carbohydrate is going to be the highest. I also make sure I'm salting my food. I'm getting electrolytes and all that good stuff. So nutrition. So if hydration is hydration could be something. Mobility could be another one that you do. We'll just say stretching. But those are not really issues for me, so I'm not stretching could also could be included with training. Sleep. At a minimum, 7. Everyone here is an athlete. This is where you should be. This is where most people should be that are training hard. And for people that, well, this is where you should be. For really, really elite people, it should be closer to 10. This may not be possible for everybody, but sleep quality is big. How can we improve it? If you have time for a 20 to 30 minute nap, that's an option. If you have time for it, if you don't, go to bed a half hour earlier. Go to bed an hour earlier, okay? Try to get your sleep schedule. Room needs to be dark. Room needs to be cool. Use an eye mask. These are really simple things. Turn your stupid phone off. My phone is not in my bedroom. It is nowhere near where I sleep. When I come home, phone goes off. I wind down a little bit. It is nowhere near my bed. No one is going to disturb me. There's going to be no like weird Wi-Fi. It's all off, okay? All that light stuff, if you have a night shift mode or whatever. So once you get to a certain point, everyone has to, and when you do it yourself, have a cutoff. For me, everything, lights out, electronics are done by 10 o'clock on weekdays. That's it. That's it. Now, if I'm busy and whatever, does that? Yes. But that's my goal. This is my map. I also got a sleep study. I have sleep apnea really bad. That was a game changer for me. Most weightlifters have some issues with sleep apnea, so that's something to get checked if you don't sleep well. So it's about quality sleep. Any questions on sleep or improving sleep quality? Because this is probably, if you focus on one thing to improve, this is it. So a couple of things I'm doing to help my stress. I have a lot of people that count on me. I have a crazy Italian family. I'm trying to go through this weight loss journey. I'm trying to gain strength. It's a lot. I have a lot going on in my personal life and business. So stress management has been, this has been my Achilles heel, right? Well, I'd say this has been my biggest issue. I've been doing some therapy just to kind of get unload some of my thoughts. One of my biggest issues being a leader and a coach is I don't have someone to talk to, and I don't have someone to kind of vent to, because I need to be strong for everyone else. But they say when you go on an airplane, what do they say when it's going down? You put your own mask on first before helping others. So you need to put your own mask on first. So if you're helping other people, you need to take care of yourself first. If you're a parent, you need to take care of yourself first. If you're a child, you need to take care of yourself first. If you're stronger, then you can help other people better. So I've just started doing some therapy stuff. That's kind of a new development for me. That was also mentally kind of hard to accept that I needed that, but I need to work on my mental and my emotional and my spiritual self. The other thing that's been really big, and yes, this is a plug, but there's not a lot of things that, if I will only kind of advocate something that I really feel has a lot of benefit. We have the yoga 7 p.m. Here. Also, we have one this Sunday at 1:30, and we're doing a beach yoga on August 12th. The yoga a couple of years ago was something that I would not be caught dead doing. I'm like, that's for wussies, that's for vegans, that's for people, all this stuff. That has been a game changer for me. It has nothing to do with, now the way we do it also is geared towards lifters, but the biggest thing is, and we're going to do some breathing exercises today. By doing breathing exercises, it could allow you to focus on your breath, and it helps you block out everything else. So doing some form of breathing and meditation and a combination of that, it is super helpful to de-stress. All of us are crazy New Yorkers, dirty Jersey people, or Staten Island people. We're all nuts. We're all on the go, right? We need to learn to chill out. So we're going to go through a lot of stuff today on how to down-regulate, because we're really good at hitting to the gym and sniffing the ammonia and taking that caffeine, but we're not really good at relaxing. So we need to get better at relaxing. If we can get better at relaxing, we can get better at recovery, and we're going to get more out of our workouts. Okay. So I guess so yoga twice a week for me. So that's like my de-stressing thing, okay? Okay, so this is my map. So my bridge habit would be focus 4. I'm focusing on my training, my nutrition, my sleep, and my stress. Those are the 4 things I'm focused on. I'm getting 4 main workouts a week. I'm having carbs pre and post workout. I'm focused on meat and veggies, getting my body weight 1 gram per pound in protein. I'm aiming for 8 hours of sleep a night, in bed by 10, and I'm doing yoga twice a week for my stress. So you guys can work on with your partner, and we'll help. I want you guys to write down your roadmap, pick your quality, write down your bridge habits. So what are the daily and weekly actions that you need to do to achieve your goal? What days are you training? How many days a week are you training? How many days a week are you stretching? How much sleep are you getting? What for nutrition? Just pick one major thing that you could change to improve your nutrition, because obviously that's a big rabbit hole.